postdoc in our group who has been so kind as to come here and help with the last hour. Then the ones of you that have downloaded Condor try the software for yourself. And there might be a few technical problems, and Ian has now used it extremely intensively, so I think the two of us will then try to answer your questions. And I just see that Samar is not here also, so he will be the first one teaching here. So could you perhaps make a very quick introduction? Just one or two sentences who you are.
My name is David Cobb. I started off in 2002, and I'm Director of Marketing at Software Company Products.
I'm Sarah. I work next door at Sloan, and I work on a bunch of different publications that are all marketing. I'm Fergus Lucy. I'm doing marketing in Korea. I'm from Brazil, and I'm working on some projects in Latin Center in IAP Class.
I'm Mike Strauss. I'm a material science alum, and I work in materials and energy and sound industry.
I am Kirill Tisievsky. I'm a PhD student at the Department of Chemical Engineering here, and I'm interested in statistical physics and statistics.
Katie Seltzer. I'm a fellow with the Berkman Center at Harvard. I'm a property professor at Northeastern Law School. And the chilling effects clearinghouse where we collect legal threats that people have listened.
I'm Lori Cohn. I'm an MIT alum, and I'm the CEO of an offline word-of-mouth measurement and analytics company called ChatPress.
Manasvi Sharma. I'm a class of 06 Sloan alum, and I'm a consultant with Bain & Company.
I'm Jackie Young. I work at Taiwan, and I'm production control engineering.
Hi, I'm Diane Williams. I'm a Sloan alum, also Harvard Graduate School of Education. I taught the business department and IT courses at Northeastern, and I'm very interested in this software.
Robin Levy, I'm a master's student in technology and policy.
I'm a PhD student at the Media Lab.
I'm Alex Way. I'm a someone graduated in chemical engineering, but I'm doing mostly computer.
My name is Rasmus Salgado. I'm from Zurich. I'm a software consultant.
My name is Colin Dark, and I'm an LLM student in banking and financial law and research assistant to Professor Franklin.
How are they doing LLM in the US?
I'm Paul. I'm from Brazil. I'm PhD. And business consultant for
Consultant for, sorry, I can hear. Okay.
My name is Vincent. I'm from Uganda. I'm a life science student at MIT.
Great.
I'm Chris Kempis. I'm a PhD student in climate physics and future-based law.
Thanks.
My name is Valentin. I'm visiting student at the MIT.
Thanks.
My name is Roger Pauline. I'm a small talented student, and I work in the computer science industry, and I'm also a producer.
I'm Bronson Boss, and I do a bunch of things. I'm starting up a company sort of in the medical device arena. also involved in the startup company taking on certain the energy arena. Last year I was advisor to the first and second place teams in the 100K nonprofit side of the competition. And that's enough.
I'm Italy. I'm a PhD student in University in IAP. And I'm interested in network marketing and the physical culture.
Here's Mohachi. I'm a postdoc at MIT
My name is Steve Dervinsky. I have an undergraduate degree from MIT Engineering and MBA from Sloan. I'm now on the investment side of things. Mostly interested in commercialization and writing.
I'm a postdoc here at MIT in the power center. Greg Wellman, I'm an undergrad at MIT from the monitoring.
Thank you. So we have a really mixed group here, and I will be trying to do our best of straddling the different realms of social network analysis, of practical applications of how to use the Coolhunting software, and more on the Swarmcreativity aspects. But I will also try to be as provocative as possible, and if you disagree, which I hope you will, quite frequently, don't be shy and just speak out. That will make the entire event much more interesting, and perhaps also increase the chances for us of learning from each other. So if I'm talking today about Coolhunting, Coolfarming, Swarmcreativity, I have to say this is not something that I have invented myself, something but which has been invented by an entire swarm of people, and you just see a few of them, and honestly it's much bigger, and hopefully it will very soon also include a few of you, because that's the principle of swarms, that we learn from each other. What can we do if we understand the swarms? And for that, my inspiration has been the bees, because they are great role models, where we have the swarm, and if the swarm self-organizes, you have the bee queen, but she doesn't really rule, but follows the orders of the swarms. So it's the swarm who decides when they want a new queen. And so here we have the cell that the swarm put together for the new queen, and once the queen is there, half of the swarm, and again, it's the bees that decide on this, will swarm and leave the old swarm. Why am I bringing this example? Because this is a pattern that is quite predictable. It means that while for an individual swarm things might be different when it swarms, because the weather, because there are some local geographic circumstances and so on, but in the bigger theme of things, this is a very predictable pattern of swarms. And what we are trying to do here is look not at swarms of bees, but at swarms of human beings, and trying to get similar patterns. And again, of course, for the individual, it's very hard to predict things, but there might be some patterns which are true in general, if there are enough people. And who of you has read the Asimov novels of psychohistory and Aristotle? So you might be familiar with this idea. That was my inspiration like 6 or 7 years ago. And I have to say, I'm of course nowhere near where Aristotle is, but indeed there are some patterns, and I will show them to you, and hopefully you will agree that there is something to it. And there is some software that tries to extract those patterns using social network analysis, so that similar to bee patterns, we will be able to do 2 things. The first one, Coolhunting, and what you see here is an output of our system as of today. And this here measures the net buzz, not based on search results or web clicks, because that's what Google Trends, for example, or Google Analytics does, but it measures web buzz based on information generated. So it measures it right when it's being produced, and it looks at the social network characteristics of each of the websites, or in case of blogs, of the blogs. And the more important they are, the more important the mention of, for example, Barack Obama, Hillary, and then if you mix this thing together, that gives us those trend curves. And what I'm trying to do is, in the next 4 hours or so, trying to convince you that indeed, if you look at those patterns, they might, to a certain extent, reflect occasionally the real world. Now, in this case, what's quite interesting is that the blogs oscillate much more, and it's not the same people that are the leaders in this web buzz. But what I found, if we cleverly mix together the blog buzz and the web buzz, it actually reflects the real world extremely well. So that's one aspect, and that's just so that you know what's going to come and what we can do with our software. The other half is Coolfarming, which means exactly the same approach you can also use to look at organizational dynamics and increase organizational productivity or creativity, hunting for what I call the COINs, which is those collaborative innovation networks. And this here is the pattern of an organization where I was working in myself. It was my own email archive, and what we see here is a group of people that, so that's 3 snapshots over time, that has developed cool new ideas, and it has been working first as a COIN, a collaborative innovation network, then it became bigger, and other people learned about the ideas, and in the end it became even bigger, and more people which just were peripherally interested showing it also, and this sort of patterns, that's what we are trying to extract and support and make organizations more productive and creative, and that's what I'm hoping from. So those are two things, the two good things that you can do if we try, if we are able to extract not just the patterns, but patterns of human beings interacting with each other. The course, that's the things that I will have to go through in the lecture part, which is 2 hours today and 2 hours a week from now. The last hour today will be software lab, and in case you haven't installed Condor yet and would like to do it, I send each of you the URL, and you can install it, and you will also need net access if you want to use the Coolhunting part, otherwise you cannot real-time mine the web, and we will do that the last hour today and the last hour from now. And if you have some other cool ideas of things you would like to do, please just contact me in the break or at the end of the class, and then perhaps we can work together or form ad hoc swarms, whatever, to do some cool farming on our own. So first, the introduction of COINs and the method which I call knowledge flow optimization, of extracting the interaction between people based on their email archives and constructing social networks. I will give you a bunch of examples so you know what you can do with it. I will also give you a very quick introduction to social network analysis. Who of you is familiar with social network analysis? So I still think I have to go a little bit into the technical details then. I will show you how Condor works. It's not really for the faint-hearted in the sense that it's a little bit, it's rich in features and not so rich in ease of use. So, if you have PhD computer science, you probably can figure it out and use it on your own. And if not, we will try to help you today and next time. And but in the meantime, it's going to, in the week in between, I will also be happy to help you on a more one-to-one level. And then Samart will talk about medical applications of this approach, and Professor Franco will talk about the and in the end, you will put together the pieces, and I will show you my method of how I do Coolhunting and Coolfarming, applying those tools. But first, we need to understand the basics. Why and how these things work. So, and here is a more complete list of people that have been involved in this project, and little sales pitch. If you want to know more, there are two nice books that you can get that describe those things in much more detail. So, are there questions right now?
You mentioned this, you sent the URL for the software. I didn't get it. You want us to install this?
The package called Condor. Yeah. On your laptop, if you would like to participate in the practical part at the last hour in 5 to 6. Yes, and it's in the PDF, and there is a link, and you can click on it and download it. So then let me start, or are there other questions? Yes.
I was looking at some of the files online, and I noticed I didn't go through the SQL, but the list for Enron, and I was wondering when you talk about social networks in terms of keeping track of the emails that people, what did they destroy, or the interactions that they had that led to their downfall, or why you picked Enron?
Well, there are two reasons. One is that you can have positive credibility and you can have negative credibility. Okay. And in that sense, Enron makes a great showcase, and there is a very practical reason. The email archive of Enron is in the public domain, so it's very easy to get that as testing field for our systems, and it's also a good benchmark because then we can compare Condor with other social network analytics. So I think that's fine. So then let me start with Swarmcreativity, and what I mean by that. we try to find the swarms and see how they swim like a fish, in what direction they go. And those composers, they make a perfect example, a very small one, a very manageable one, but it's the same thing. Now, there are other aspects to this little swarm of composers that make them a great role model. I actually met one of them personally, and when he told me of this product, and then I went out and I walked the scene. Afterwards, he thanked me personally and told me that I was buyer number 15 of his seed. So the point is, they didn't do that for the money. They did it because they cared, because they were intrinsically motivated. And I think that's also a point of the swarm season. There isn't much in it for the people doing the swarm. In my definition of what makes those cool traits, there is, I'm not really sure whether altruism is the right word. You could also just call it very customer focused, but they don't do things for themselves, but for the others. And I mean, if you look at business trends, Apple is a genius in marketing iPods and iPhones, and it's not for nothing that they associate themselves, for example, with Bono, which has among the singers a really good reputation for being engaged for good things, and not being engaged in this business that helps the business to improve. Yes.
Does that mean that essentially what Joe Belichick is trying to do with the Patriots is create a swarm? Is swarm a synonym for team, or
it's somewhat similar? Yes. Actually, I was inspired by reading the One Ball book that you might be familiar, some of you, where so getting a good sports team that is very effective is similar to the swarm idea. Or the orchestra, there is, for example, the conductorless orchestra in New York, Orpheus. That's another example for me of how those swarms should work. And then there are, of course, the very famous non-profit examples, Linux and Wikipedia, that I will not go in today, but those set great examples for high-tech swarms. However, there are really low-tech examples of swarms also. When I was in Ghana, I have been there a few times, doing my own private version of the one laptop per child, which I see every 1 year. But we did it in a much more primitive, where we collected pieces and we brought them there and we helped connect them to the schools. We were on the road in a truck when suddenly the truck broke down. And what turned out, the clutch cable was broken, so I could only drive in the rear, which was a little bit, my neck was very stiff. I'm only driving backwards. But out of nowhere, a little boy came. The boy got a mechanic who came on the back. The mechanic went under the car. He found the clutch cable, he banged on it, and the car would again drive sort of the right direction. And we went to the Makola market to have our car fixed in earnest. And the Makola market in Ghana, for me, is a great example of swarm creativity in a low-tech arena, because this is sort of, it's the spare parts market for cars in Ghana, where they just have ripped out all the parts of thousands and thousands of cars, and then they have sorted it by make and model and type of parts. And it's hopeless for an external person to find anything, but if there are little boys, again, and so you tell them, I need a clutch cable for my Nissan truck, then they guide you to the dealer who has clutch cables for Nissan trucks. And then we got one, and it worked beautiful. Out of nowhere, another mechanic went under the car, and we got our truck fixed. Now, there is an addition to this story, in that it still didn't really work very well. The cable was leaking oil, and in the end we had to go not to the Makola market, but to the only authorized Nissan dealer in Accra. And what he found out was that our Nissan truck was imported from Switzerland, whereas all the other Nissan trucks are from Japan. The clutch cables are not the same, but he could only figure that out because he had an internet terminal and could do research. So bottom line, Swarmcreativity works, but with low-tech means, sometimes there are, it's not so, I mean, it's not such smooth, right, and it's much lower, whereas only with the internet and with these capabilities of connecting many people globally instantaneously, these swarms really take off. That's, for me, the main sales argument why we should really, by connecting people and by looking at their communication and interaction patterns, we have a chance to discover those swarms, like the 3 jazz composers, and like all those Wikipedians and Linux developers, and one Dr. Project developers, and so on. So, what's for me the basic principle of Swarmcreativity? If you and I swap $1, you and I swap $1, but if we swap ideas, each of us has 2 ideas. And that's very true for the Macola market, for example. Because there, I just have my car part, but if I have one old car, I rip out the parts, I go, and I'm in my little village, chances for my Nissan clutch cable to find it there are very little. Whereas if we all pool our resources, it becomes extremely useful. And that's the basic idea. So, with that said, let me give you a quick overview over the other aspects that we all need in order to get this Swarmcreativity thing working. Just a few words about social network analysis. It's really very simple, and I apologize to the ones that might already be much bigger experts in social network analysis. What we have is we have people or organizations which are the nodes, or as they are called in social network analysis, the actors. And then we have relationships or ties between those actors. This here is an example of musicians. And the stronger the tie, the relationship between 2 people is, the thicker the line. And if we draw those network graphs, the convention is that the more they interact, the closer they get together. And that's how we get those pictures of clusters, of social networks, of points, and so on. So here we have those very central 3 positions, and then we see with whom they have played together in the past, and the farther away we go, smaller the nodes get, so the less important they are, and the ties, the relationships between then get longer and longer, which means they are much weaker ties. The stronger the tie, the shorter the connection between the 2. And usually, so here we have again connections between people and between groups of people, so we can fold or merge teams into groups and then just analyze connections between groups. And as you will see, with Condor we can do all of those nice things, and in the end we get those network features. So this is a very well-known social network analysis picture of David Crocker, professor at CNU, who analyzed the team of generals and senior officers during the Cold War that was responsible for the establishment. That's their network. And it's not a very good network. So what we would like to get is a well-connected cluster where everybody talks to everybody. Now, so what do you think who is the boss here? Yes? Conrad, yes. That would be a good guess. Now, what Conrad is a gatekeeper, but it's an unfair question, of course, because I know the answer, and on the network structure, it's hard to figure out who the boss is. Conrad is not the boss. He just is the one who knows the other, who connects the 2 teams. And that's why it's called a gatekeeper. And as we will see, gatekeeper positions are positions of power. And that's true for people in organizations, for organizations connecting other organizations, and even for websites, that link other websites. You can analyze their networks.
I'm just curious, though, you can measure, like you can, according to thickness, you can measure someone who you may have frequent contact with, but you cannot necessarily measure the quality of the relationship or the interaction?
That's an excellent question. That was in the old days when they would cognitive analysis. So you ask the people, how well do you know this guy? How happy are you with the interaction? And so you can have different graphs, and that's what we still are doing. Then we do a manual social network analysis, but sometimes we do automatic social network analysis, and then we bind the context. Then we can still do a sentiment analysis, and we see that Peter sends a happy email to Tamar, and Tamar sends a nasty email to Lynn, and Lynn complains to Peter. Anyway, so we can automatically put some qualifier to the type. And social networks and the technology buzzword Web 2.0, as you all know, has really taken off because it's so easy to get those relationships out automatically. That's what we are doing in Condor, and that's what David Drucker in the old days did manually. Now in the network structures there are then a few things that stand out. There is one metric which is called centrality, and there are different ways of measuring centrality. You can measure it by degree, and degree just means how many nearest neighbors does this guy here have. So this guy here is a star, he's in the center, and he's between all the others. So his degree would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the degree of all of those guys is just 1. So here we have a huge power imbalance. Now, if we go back to Conrad on the previous slide, we could here also again measure how central it is, but there are different measures. Another one, which in social networks is very important, is called betweenness. And betweenness means if there is an information flow going on, if I'm on the shortest path, if all the information has to flow to me, I'm in power. And degree and betweenness centrality are two very central metrics that we will be using in Condor. And the differences you can imagine, like, for example, if I know 2 people on the world, my degree is 2, because I just have 2 nearest neighbors in my information flow graph. But if those 2 people are George Bush and Bill Gates, and between 2 very powerful people, and so I inherit sort of their power. And that's what we are doing when we measure betweenness. We look at the shortest path in the graph, and here everything has to flow through Conrad. That's why he is in a position of power. And we can do the same thing for blogs, and we can do the same thing for email, we can do the same thing for websites, and it's always the principle of degree centrality against betweenness centrality, and if we find those differences, and there are a few other smart metrics, that will tell you a lot about the influence and about what's perhaps going to happen in the bigger scheme of things. So that's a very quick overview of social network analysis, and what the basic idea of Condor is. It's like with the weather forecast, you have patterns, and it's in Condor we don't have patterns of weather clouds, but we have patterns of social networks, and we look at news over time, how they change, and we measure the position of those people in the network clouds. And if, for example, my centrality, my betweenness centrality changes, and it goes up, that means I get more and more influential. And that's the basic idea how our approach works. Now, Condor creates those dynamic movies over time. So we just have a few snapshots, and there might be somebody here, who is in the beginning very peripheral, then over time he moves closer and closer to the center. That means her or his influence goes up over time. And that's one of the USPs of the points, that with Condor you can very easily measure those dynamic changes in centrality of individual actors and of entire graphs. Another one is that Condor sits on top of all of these different communication archives and thus loads it automatically. There are other tools for social network analysis, but for the others, they take a well-defined input format, and that means if you have emails, millions of emails, you first have to convert it into this input format, whereas with Condor, once you have mastered the somewhat complex user interface, you can do those sort of analysis automatically. And then there is a third point here, and that is that Condor not just looks at people, but also at what they are saying. So you can look at concepts, and you weigh the importance of, let's say, war in Iraq as a keyword, as a concept, by the position of the person that uses it. It means if Barack Obama talks about war in Iraq, that matters much more than if Peter talks about war in Iraq. So you have the centrality of concepts weighted by the centrality of the people talking about those concepts, and again you track them over time. That's how we get conceptual terms. Yes.
So in essence, can it really track the reach of a concept, starting with an actor and over time where it flows?
Yes, there are different ways of slicing and dicing it. In theory, not practically it doesn't work, but there are too many human beings. You could take the entire network of people, and then like a virus, and you could track its convection, how it spreads out, and touches more and more people. And this movie has in fact been produced like that. So there is a new trend here that's, again, the same group of people like I was showing you this 3D network graphs before. And they were talking about this Google concept. And that means whenever a new person talks about this, they are colored in red, and then they keep this red color for a certain time of black. They are infected with the virus, so you can track how those things spread out. Now there are two other things that you can do with Condor. This one is called the contribution index, and that's extremely useful. What this measure is how active somebody is within a community. So this here is on the x-axis. The more messages you send and receive, the farther to the right you are. So the most active people are over here, the least active are here, and on the x-axis it doesn't really matter whether you receive or you send. It's just sort of the metric of activity, whereas the y-axis is the metric for how important you are in a community, or how well balanced your communication behavior is. If you are only a sender of messages, you are up here. If you are only a receiver, you are down here. And it turns out that the important people, they usually get more than they send. So for each community, what we found, for each swarm, they have really very difficult pattern. In that we have a few people, which this is atypical, that's really far down, usually they are higher up here. They are the coordinators. They send out lots of messages, they send more than they receive, and overall they are the most active ones. And then there are community leaders, and they are usually here. They are pretty active, and they get much more than they send. And that can be emails that I send and I get. And we started doing our analysis like 4 or 5 years ago, looking at the World Wide Web Consortium. And people like the Berners-Lee and the heads of those architecture groups or whatever, working groups, they end up being here. And here you have coordinators. Here you have the people that send out stuff. Nobody responds to them, which means they're probably not that important. Whereas down here you have the people that get more than they send, so they must have, other people must think that they have something to say. Unfortunately, they are not that responsible. Good people are usually in the middle, so they have a balanced communication behavior. But this contribution index is really useful to get the social life of the community of the group and figure out at one glance what the role of the person is within the community. The point is, it's within a community. You can be very active in one group, but not have a totally separate role someplace else. In a totally different project that I probably will only be talking next week, where we analyzed the network of a bank using social badges. That was a project at the Media Lab. There was one secretary who was extremely passive, and she was like here. But, and then Matthew assistant who was doing the analysis said that cannot be. She's such an outgoing person and in the same carnival club with her. And the point is that for her that the job was the most boring thing and she didn't want to do anything and she was just sitting there and not reaching out to anybody because she focused her entire social energy into this carnival club that was in Cologne. And in Cologne, as people that are from Cologne might know, carnival is 1 week, that's what matters. It's like a carnival in Rio. And so that was her thing, and there she was totally the other way around. Bottom line is, it really matters on the swarm or the community what your role is. And then the third thing that you have that contradicts you, which is very useful, is it tracks its neatness or centrality over time, and it does that for entire communities and also for individual actors. And for example, here we have this line here, between centrality. The higher it is, the more central the group structure. That means it has a star with one guy in the center, and all the others communicating through him. Very centralized structure. That's like the old command and control structure in the military. But we found that's not very productive. Here we have real decentralized structure. Everybody talks to everybody, and that is really for creative teams what we want if we want them to be working together very effectively. And the same is also true for individual positions. You can see sometimes somebody is extremely central, sometimes somebody is peripheral, so you can track over time how individual actors and entire communities can collaborate.
Yeah, what are the coordinates on that?
This one is from 0 to 1, and 1 is totally centralized, which means, and it's the measure, the definition of the measure is slightly different whether it's the entire community or whether it's one single actor. If it's 1 for an actor, then I have to start. If it's 0 for an actor, then I'm at the paper. No information flows through me. Whereas if it's an entire group, then the measure is defined as this here is called the star structure, this here is called democracy. Everybody talks to everybody. Now, total democracy can be, for example, it's a circle structure. Everybody has just one nearest neighbor. But it could also be a total, like a crystal structure where everybody is connected to everybody. And the genius in this case doesn't really tell you anything. But it's still very useful to know whether you have democratic communications or very hierarchical, centralized communications.
Would someone call in for your services and say a particular organization if they were having some internal problems, like they were hemorrhaging really great people, or do they do it just to do like a checkup to see that the networks really work?
I will show you some examples where you have done precisely this sort of project.
Okay.
The dynamics you're talking about, just records keeping, or can you look to the future? So at any moment, can can you predict what the dynamics will be?
Well, our vision is, of course, trying to be predicting what's going to happen, but what our tool, of course, does it only looks into the past. But similarly to swarms of bees, where we have this cycle which is well defined from swarm, getting new queen, splitting, going to new location, and that's a pattern which is always the same. We have some patterns of creativity and of high performance, and I showed you that the most productive pattern already that was from a coin to a learning network, an interest network. So what this does, it shows you where you have innovation, where you have the idea. That's usually I'm doing our Coolhunting, our perspective for new innovations, and we will be looking for this sort of pattern. And we have some projects with some high-tech manufacturers where we have mined their email archives to see how their new ideas bubble up and who the most influential people are as far as developing new ideas goes, and how we can help them to get those new ideas up and running. So yeah, that's the tool. This here is the architecture picture. So what Condor takes is it can mine the web, it can mine blogs using RSS feeds, it can run on top of some databases. Patterns are very interesting because then we can construct a social network by looking at, for example, who works with who patterns or who is citing what other patterns, same from literature databases. And the most interesting one for predictive learning is online growth, that those are swarms. For example, we were looking at the Internet Movie Database, IMDb, that some of you might know, and we constructed a social network of people about who would get the next postcard, and what this allowed us is to predict with 80 to 90% accuracy in December who would win an Oscar in February. We did the same for general movie buzz and looked at the correlation between how successful a movie would be in the box office and the level of buzz. And we also combined that with the sentiment analysis, so we needed to look whether people were talking about movies positively or negatively. And again, there was correlation of 0.8 or so between the level of buzz that the movie got and how much money it made at the box office. So to answer your question, yes, you can predict certain things by looking at those trends. So,
yes, the thing you just mentioned is coverage that or skills?
We have done those. There are, if you go to the ICTM website and look at the publications list, those are all papers that have been written and published, and where we have found those insights. Yes?
Earlier you showed an analysis for activity with regards to the upcoming election. Now obviously the presidential election is quite different from the Oscars, but have you done sort of research for like Senate races or congressional races or elections?
Yeah, we did one, you might remember there was this Lieberman election, so we did that one, and there it, I don't know why, but Republicans for some, they are much better in getting buzz, and if you look at this curve here, you will see that Rudy Giuliani gets more than Hillary and Barack come back. I don't know how they do it. But one point I do just have negative buzz because we do not really look at sentiment analysis so far. And it's the same thing like if you have Washington Post, Wikipedia, New York Times, where you are mentioned as a candidate, that will boost you, like George Bush or for example, or Bill Gates will boost my betweenness if I'm a friend of those. And so yes, we're doing some this analysis, and of course we do this Hillary and Barack thing, but I have to admit we were probably as successful as the people that did the polls. And, well, I could give you many excuses why we weren't any better, but anyway. So that's the overall architecture of the tool, and that's how it looks. Application. So we have the social network view, we have the content view, we have the contribution index, we have the betweenness, and we see how those things change over time. This here is an online forum of drug abusers that are talking about how to use oxycodone to get high fast. It's amazing what sort of information you can get on the web. So, but the interesting thing is, for example, we can then look who are the influencers, who are the people that have the most central network position talking about oxycodone and other activities that you might be able to do with those things. And then we can drill down automatically, and we get those influentials into the community. And by just reading the online forum, you will never be able to get this sort of information. And with this tool, you can load it automatically. Now, I have to say, scalability is a problem. So obviously we cannot just sunk the entire web or huge forms into a database on my laptop. Honestly, it's already a problem if you have like a 1,000 people organization. The biggest we have done is like 5,000 people organizations that our team can manage. Or as you will see, if we do web analysis, then we can just have a cutoff and take only the most influential blogs and websites. Here, for this forum, it's not a problem either because usually they are not that big. But I think hiring the new database forum, that's a couple of thousand or 10,000 or 20,000 or 100,000 people. So that's manageable for our tool. But if you have the entire web, entire blogosphere or big organizations, then you have to be really skilled in IT to build it down and get the most influential people out and do an analysis on the results. Now there are a few things that Condor does in addition, and this here is an excellent way of looking at communities to distinguish them in a totally anonymized way. As you can imagine, when we do this analysis that you were asking, like you look at who is communicating with whom and about what, people are very concerned about privacy issues. And that means that the very first thing we always do when we do one of those Coolfarming exercises, we define the privacy test. And we decide whether we will anonymize actors, whether we will encrypt communication and only look at similarity based on an encrypted way. And this is the most anonymous way of looking at it at all. But this is, I call it temporal social surface. It is all the people who really have formed active over time, 300 days, and we measure the betweenness of each person over time. And what this leads to is very simple pattern. This is a pattern of innovation. And now you might ask me, why do I know this? And the short answer is because I know what the community is about. So I know that this is an innovation community. This here is a learning community, which means it's they are learning about new concepts from the initial group of people that developed the concept, and this is an interest group which is growing over time. But the pattern really makes sense because you have those innovators where the communication structure is always changing between centralized, decentralized structure. You have one guy who pushes out an idea to all the others. So he has a star structure. This is the star in the center. Afterwards, people all talk excitedly one with each other, which means you have very low centrality. That's why it goes down and then it goes up again. That's why you have these oscillating structures, which are indicative of innovation. And by now we have analyzed hundreds and hundreds of entities, and it's always these types of patterns for innovation. For learning, we have the teacher who is very central. The teacher is very steady, and he's just standing there, and the others are listening to his words, and they are asking occasional questions. He's a good teacher. He tries to get his centrality down and get the class to interact with each other. And if you have an interest group, then hopefully levels of participation of individuals will go up over time. That's what we see here. We see how the group grows over time and how people are getting more and more successfully active. And that's why we have these levels of activity. So we get very distinctive patterns for those three kinds of communities. And then the last thing that we can do, we can look at social networks of people, not just by how much people interact with each other, but also whether they talk about the same thing. And so here we have a diverse group of people, and it looks like this galaxy cluster structure, but then we combine it with looking at how similar the topics are, then we get the core group talking about the same things, and we get the peripheral group that just is connected by exchanging emails, but they don't talk about the same things. Those are things that we can get out of Condor easily and automatically, and which are very hard to do if you don't have to do like the one we are looking at now. So are there questions right now? So I have one question for you. Do you want to have 5 minutes break, or should I just go on until 5? Okay, so let's make 5 minutes break.